Please visit us on the web at www.pollenpeddlers.com. You can meet our team of beekeepers that will provide you with all your bee venom therapy needs. We offer bees in a mini pod so that you can easily order as many bees as needed per week, in addition to our Dream Pod system that gently puts your bees to sleep for therapy. The website also gives you resources for bee venom therapy, the protocols, and other people's experiences. Please feel free to contact us via Facebook Messenger or through our newsletter. Thank you. This video is not intended as a substitute for medical advice of physicians. The viewer should regularly consult a physician in matters relating to his or her health, and particularly with respect to any symptoms that may require diagnosis or medical attention. The information provided in this video is designed to provide helpful information on the subjects discussed. This video is not meant to be used, nor should it be used to diagnose or treat any medical condition. For diagnosis or treatment of any medical problem, consult your own physician. The speakers and participants are not responsible for any specific health or allergy needs that may require medical supervision and are not liable for any damages or negative consequences from any treatment, action, application, or preparation to any person reading or viewing the following information in this video. Use at your own risk. If you are in a life-threatening or emergency medical situation, seek medical assistance immediately. No guarantee that everyone will have the same results, and bee venom therapy is not FDA approved.
Welcome to my world. I'm real emotional today, so please excuse me. I didn't know that there were others like me. I knew about the arthritis, and the doctor said that I didn't have arthritis. And I knew about fatigue, but I didn't have fibromyalgia. Lyme disease. After in 1998, I think I was diagnosed. I know it was right in that time, 97. I didn't have ticks then. I had excruciating pain. I had unbearable pain. I had pain that hurt to breathe. It hurt to put my hands in my hair. There's a cure for the nervous damage that's done. Read up and learn, and don't pinch the ticks off like I did. Don't be careful. They carry lots of diseases. Anyway, God bless y'all. Bye.
It's me, Belinda. This is a real quick in and out. I'm heading out the door as soon as I finish up with this. But I wanted to just do this so that you guys know that I'm okay and I am really better. And I'm getting better all the time. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Okay, hi everybody, it's Belinda. I am doing this as follow-up from my 2013 video where I was really ticking a lot and really depressed. But right now, life is so good. The Bee Venom Therapy has helped me with the ticks, with my walking, with my strength, with my endurance, with my sleeping, with my, just everything. It's been a miracle. I can't express enough the wonders that has gone on this year.
So today we have the pleasure of meeting probably one of the most courageous women I have met on my Lyme journey. Most of us do not have an opportunity during the throes of Lyme to think about documenting it properly, and she went above and beyond and documented her journey through Lyme when she was really feeling at her worst. And to share that among us is tremendous, because to have the forethought and the courage just is amazing to me that she would do that, because I definitely didn't have my wits about me to be able to document when I was feeling my worst. And she eventually found Bee Venom Therapy and has used that with her Lyme disease. So please let me introduce Belinda Williams, and thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm so blessed to be here. Yeah.
Well, we are blessed to have you here. So can you tell us, I know that you've documented your journey and we can find that on YouTube, but I'd love to hear from the beginning, where it started, how things started going, and what you did before you found Bee Venom Therapy.
It started when I had, back in the 90s, probably around, now I had a Lyme doctor that told me I probably had it most of my life, but I'm not sure. He said because of the type of life I've had and some of the symptoms, chronic fatigue being one of the majorest ones, and joint pain. I've had joint pain for quite a many number of years. It didn't get really bad until after I had been driving a semi. I drove a semi for almost 12 years. And in the 90s, I was driving, it was around 96. And I think I thought I had arthritis. So I started self-medicating with ibuprofen. And then I went to 800 milligrams. And then I was taking 800 milligrams, 2 tablets, which is about 16, 2 or 3 times a day. The pain was just getting horrible. So after self-medicating for a long time, I was pretty much on herbs and vitamins and taking care of myself because of the truck. But I got off the truck and I decided I was going to do a detox.
You did this before you found out about the Lyme, right?
I didn't know anything. I had been a nurse before I went into trucking. I had been a nurse and then changed careers. And I had no idea about Lyme disease, none. I was living in Virginia State at the time. And, you know, there's a lot of trees and ticks and stuff like that. But by traveling across country, I also was exposed to ticks, you know, in Montana, Washington, all the states that I would go to. I get out and, I mean, I've been in hot springs, natural hot springs in Oregon and different areas where, you know, I wasn't real old and I was enjoying life, you know, seeing the country and seeing things that people don't get to see a lot of times. So, and I'm a country girl. So I really enjoyed the hot springs and getting out in the middle of the rivers and finding areas that nobody really knew except the locals and having a good time.
Do you remember being bitten, or was it just you probably were and had no idea?
I didn't know anything about the bullseye. I had no idea about it. And it wasn't until probably years later that after being in Virginia, I remembered a bullseye. But then I also remember having a tick that was stuck on the back of my neck one time, and I never saw if there was a bullseye. You know, you get them in some areas and you say, ugh, how did that get here? You know, and back then nobody talked about it. There wasn't Lyme groups. There wasn't people that met. I mean, I had no idea.
You're right.
No idea.
And it was traditional that after being in the woods,
yeah. And so when it happened, I got so sick I couldn't get out of bed. I put my hands in my hair like this, and I could feel the hair follicles. Every individual little hair follicle hurt. I would breathe and I could feel my diaphragm. It was like experiences I didn't think people had. It was really strange. And I couldn't go upstairs. My bedroom was upstairs and I couldn't even walk the stairs. I was so weak. So I ended up seeing a doctor, and she's the one that tested me for Lyme disease. It was kind of like, I don't even know where it came from, but the conversation got around to Lyme disease, and she said, well, let me test you for that, because they knew I had something going on. My white blood count was real high. And 3 days later, they were telling me that I had Lyme disease. And I was really happy. You know?
Right, because you
Finally,
thought,
we knew what was wrong.
It's something they know they can fix. They know it's Lyme disease, maybe they can fix it.
Yeah, yeah. And I was put on doxycycline, and I was on that for a month, and I was still on my truck. Before that, though, she had put me on some steroids, which I found out later was really not good. And, you know, but back then people didn't really, you know, doxycycline, that was it.
Right, absolutely. So you're still doing your truck, you're on antibiotics. What happened next?
I got better a little bit, you know, I got a little better, but I still wasn't up to par. And I asked her if she would do it again, if she would give me another month. And she was pretty aggressive for that time. And she said, yeah. And so she gave me another prescription, and I went into remission. You know, I seemed to be doing pretty good. And it went along for quite a while that I was in remission and thinking life was going to be okay.
So the doxy, you did 2 months and you felt like you were in remission from that, which is great.
Yeah, it was like really strange, but yeah, I did.
And so how long after the antibiotics did you start feeling the symptoms of Lyme again?
It was a few years, about 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And
that's
this
a long time.
It came back. Yeah, yeah. But it came back with pretty much a vengeance, because I started having Bell's palsy symptoms. I was drooling. I had numbness in my arms. I would get numbness in my hands. I was becoming very, very forgetful. More of the typical Lyme now. And I asked the doctor why I didn't have the heavy symptoms all along. And he said, good genes. That's the only difference. The symptoms were the same. The fact that I isolated a lot by being in the truck. I didn't get colds. I wasn't around, and I took a lot of vitamins, kept myself kind of built up. He said it was just good genes and luck. No, I don't think there was anything special about me.
So this doctor, how did he treat you moving forward? Because those are a lot of symptoms. Obviously, you need some relief. What happened with him?
It was a she doctor, and she actually passed away. And I, at that time, had moved on and went to Texas. So I had a doctor here in Texas, and went in the hospital. Of course, I didn't put 2 and 2 together that it was the Lyme disease popping up, not right away. He told me it was all in my head. He told me he could give me something for my nerves if I needed it. It was like, okay, this is not in my head.
Like all of us have had that at some time. It's in our head. It just doesn't have to be in our head the way they say it is. Yeah. So
right,
did he help you?
Because no, not at all. For whatever reason, the Bell's palsy seemed to slow down a little bit, and it didn't stay. It was just like fleeting. But I was beginning to get some tics and So I found a different doctor. When he told me it was in my head, I found a different doctor.
Good. So how did your next doctor deal with the Lyme disease? Was there more testing, or how did that go?
Of course, the arthritic panel, sending me through all the arthritic panels and different tests that he had. But he was real open because we talked about Lyme disease, and he had had one patient that had had Lyme disease that went back to the East Coast. So I was reading and getting all the information I could, and one of the treatments that I read was doxycycline 600 milligrams a day, which is, you know, the pharmacy had a fit. They didn't want to give me that much. And you pretty much have to dress like a mummy, otherwise you're going to burn up because your skin gets so sensitive, and any little sunburn will turn into like a fire on you. So that was a hard thing. And I got better again, and I went into remission again.
So how long were you on the 600 milligrams of doxycycline?
A month. Another month. And that one I thought, oh, we got it this time. You know, we got it. Nope.
So how long after
that brings us up?
Second round?
About 2 years. About 2 years. And this time I was really sick. To the point my oxygen, okay, one thing that I have found out from other girls that have Lyme disease also is that we can get sleep apnea. My sleep apnea is not the normal sleep apnea that people think about. It's not the kind where you have a blockage, but mine stems from the brain, where it doesn't trigger my body to breathe. If your brain is not telling you to breathe, you don't breathe. You know, your body's supposed to be breathing while you're asleep. Well, my body doesn't. And I didn't learn that until just recently, because I was still having a little bit of fatigue and I couldn't figure out what it was, because I knew it wasn't the Lyme disease, but I was having trouble sleeping at night.
You know,
And
funny you say that, because I have never heard that, but I always say to my husband, I just feel like I'm not breathing, like my body's forgetting to breathe. Yeah. And so that is amazing that you have figured that out, and that makes a lot of sense.
All the inflammation is in our brains. So, and I have residual Lyme leftover junk. Not that I'm suffering through it, but I know that some of the aches and pains that I have is from the Lyme disease. I mean, that's just, you know, it's there, and you deal with it.
There's definitely, when you go through a disease like that for so long, there's going to be residual permanent things that come out of it. Unfortunately, I just feel like there's things that happen that scar your body.
Right.
Okay.
I totally agree.
What do you do moving forward with this? How did you help? Did he help the sleep apnea or time frame, or?
The sleep apnea, no, nothing. You know, and I didn't know about the sleep apnea until just recently. This year, I was put on a BiPAP, which is, to me, closer to a ventilator because it breathes for me. If I don't breathe, it pushes the oxygen, the air, the room air, into my lungs, and I breathe. And it keeps track of how many episodes I have at night. I've had as many as 100 episodes where I don't breathe, down to 5. The other night, there was 20 episodes of not breathing. So, and that machine breathes for me during that time. And I get better energy because, you know, if you're oxygenating, your life is a lot better. It's really good.
That's very true. Where are you in this journey at this point? I know that you have come out of remission for the second time. The symptoms are far worse, and you have the same symptoms plus more. Is that correct?
each time I would go into remission and then come out, the symptoms were worse. Now, the last time before I stung, I really thought I was on death's doorbed. It was the Christmas before I started stinging. I had been flown up to see my son and daughter-in-law and a new grandson. And I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do anything. It was all I could do was to take that flight. And then they picked me up at the airport in Nebraska. They took me to the house, and I couldn't go anywhere. They'd say, come on, you want to go and eat? And it was like, no, just, you know, pick me up something. I'll stay with the baby. I couldn't do anything. And my daughter-in-law at that time became very concerned about it. And we talked about it later, that she thought I was dying. Well, after I get back and I'm still not doing good, I took an early retirement from work because I wanted to spend some time on the farm before I died. That's the truth. And as it went, I ended up with my oxygen saturations flying down into the 70s, and the doctor said that wasn't possible, but I have an O2 sat. I'm a nurse. You know, I know what I was reading, and I know how I was feeling, and I couldn't breathe. So one of the gals that has been in Carla Williams, her and I have been friends through my adventure in life through Lyme disease. She also has Lyme disease. And she said, Belinda, you've got to try the bee venom. Now, we had talked about this a couple of years before. We had talked about it. And I was like, yeah, right. You know, and back then there was a doctor that was doing injections. And it was like, I ain't putting no bee venom in me. This time it was like, yeah.
Well, I think you come to a point that
You'll
do just about anything to not feel the way you do. And as crazy as bee venom sounds, it works, and that's a wonderful gift that someone can share with you. So tell us about how you decided to do your first sting.
Ellie had kind of walked me through, and one of the other girls got me an EpiPen because I couldn't get a prescription for it. And if I could have, we couldn't have afforded the $400 at that time. And I had a neighbor who had bees, and I told him, I said, I need a jar full of bees. And so he brought me all these bees over, and I said, okay. And my husband, you know, I had been watching, I had got my tweezers, I'd done everything. I had, you know, taken my vitamin C, I'd done everything I needed for the protocol. And my husband did my sting. He did my first sting for me. Did it crazy. What I was told.
I'm sure so. You did your first sting. What was the first thing you noticed in your bee venom? I know during the ramp up process, and what did you notice immediately?
Between the sweats and the things that was going on there, or the improvement? The improvement within
all of the above.
Yeah. Because I had really bad jerking, and when you show them the video, or if they've seen the video, I couldn't sit straight. I couldn't sit still. There'd be times I'd be in the walking, and I would end up going around in circles. My body just couldn't go straight. My sister had to walk me into the doctor's office because my equilibrium was so off. And you're always, you know, questioning, is this real? You know, it was really bizarre. The first thing that I noticed, and I didn't want to say anything, was I wasn't having the tics, the facial tics, and my memory was getting better. You know, but I was afraid to say anything to jinx it. I didn't want to jinx it.
Well, I imagine your family noticed that the facial tics were lessening.
They didn't want to say anything either. They wanted, I don't know why nobody would say anything, you know, but everybody was just like holding their breath to see how it was going to work. And my sister, who had taken me to the Lyme doctor, she decided to sting with me because he told us that we probably had it in our family. and she stung also. And she had some problems with her goiter. She had goiter.
Yes,
Yeah.
on the thyroid.
And yeah, her thyroid was really enlarged. And he said that your thyroid, now one has enlarged, the other one had a shrunk one. And everybody kept saying mine was normal, even though it didn't seem like it was normal. It looked swollen. They'd say, well, let's do a test. And that's when I heard some things, that some of these tests are like putting on shoes. They didn't know where to size shoes, so they just decided this was the sizing. So when you are told to put on shoes, you go to the 7s. Well, 7s might be okay for the United States, but it might be a 14 over here. The way that they make their graphs on what is a normal temperature, what is a normal TSH, what are the normal, you just pick some numbers. And they said this range to this range. That's how it originally started. They would just say, we'll take this number and these 7s are the normal women that, you know, the average woman wears a size 7 shoe. Well, I don't, you know, mine's an 8.5. So they would make averages out of just grouping a bunch of people together and saying, okay, what's the average? And that's the average. But that may be an average for that group, but it doesn't mean it's your average. And that's the way it is with our tests. What they say are averages, I think they're intelligent guesses. You know,
Right.
really.
So they may have
Having
said
been
that
in the medical field for
your thyroid was in the average range, but you knew it just wasn't quite right. And then your sister, she had goiters and enlargement. So she was stinging. Did she have a response from that?
Oh yeah, her diabetes went away. The goiter went away. She lost weight. She's 2 years younger than me, and she's just as active as I am. We're out there. Neither of us are on medications. If I can get her to take a vitamin, I'm doing good. She was my #1 assistant. She would catch bees with me.
That's great to have a supporter. Jason started stinging when I did. He doesn't have Lyme disease, but he started stinging with me because he just wanted to support me, which was fabulous. And I know that he had some great results too, but I wanted to go back to the thyroid thing. I had a goiter on both sides of my thyroid before I started, and they are completely gone now. And my doctor had no explanation for where they went or why they're gone. And of course I knew it was the bee venom. My thyroid's really swollen today, so that obviously it's a spot that the Lyme really affected, and it affects my speech, like the tone of my voice, and my throat and so forth. But I just wanted to touch on that because, you know, your sister didn't get tested for Lyme, but he said it may be in your family. So that was a similar symptom that I've had. But please continue telling us this amazing journey.
I started getting stronger, and I actually even drove to Nebraska to see my grandkids, taking my trusty little beehive with me.
And how far is the drive?
It's 10 hours.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if I would do that now. That is amazing. You must have felt so good and confident to be able to do that.
What? I don't know how confident it was, but I said, if it don't kill me, I'm going to be really happy. You know, and I took my bees with me, and daughter-in-law and my grandson both stung me. It was amazing. The strength was coming back. My wit was coming back. My courage was back. You know, I've always felt like I was kind of a wilderness woman, getting up in a truck and driving across country by myself. The Lyme disease really had me doubting myself a lot. It was a hard battle. I did some really weird things, like
besides bee venom.
One time, yeah, no, you know, when you stand out in the middle of your room and you're all by yourself and you're slapping your face to see if the ticks are real, and you say, ouch, it hurt. Yeah, what's going on? You know, you realize, you know, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't, you know, why am I? going around in circles.
It's an unbelievable journey. And when you tell people about it, it is so hard for them to fathom. But you did an amazing documentation for us of that with your videos. And I'm sure you look back at those and you can't even believe that you were in that position.
I look at them still and I cry. I say, oh my God. You know, and I just am thankful for the bees and thankful that God made people that kept tugging me and saying, come on, try it. And that my husband and my sister were there to help me sting. Because I don't believe I could do like some of the gals do and sting themselves. I'm not that agile. I can't, there's no way I could do it. My ability, you know, I just don't think I could do it and hold it on there on my tweezers. And I got tweezers sitting around here somewhere right now.
I was worried about how to get the stings out. I felt like if I stung myself, I'd end up with like 30 stingers at the end of the week just hanging in my back.
Actually, you know, you got those little scrubbies in the bathroom and you can go like this and they'll knock the stingers out. I've done that a few times, but.
Right. So
yeah.
Tell me, when you went to Nebraska, how far into the treatment were you?
I was probably about 5 months. Now, in about my second month, I bought the bees. I bought me a hive. I don't know nothing about beehives. I don't know.
Did you take a whole hive to Nebraska in the car?
No, one of those little yellow bee buddies. The
okay.
bees
right.
or whatever. But what I did do was, because I didn't know anything about bees, and it was a cloudy, rainy day after the rain had and I didn't hear my bees, and where are they at? And I didn't see them anywhere. I decided to open the lid and I got about 100 stings in my head.
Oh, that had to be incredibly painful and scary.
That was very painful and scary. I'm running from the hive. I put the lid down. I'm running from the hive. I've got bees following me. I've got bees stinging me all over. I don't have a suit on. I'm just in, you know, like my regular little shorts and t-shirt. And I've got bees everywhere, legs everywhere. And I'm not sure if that isn't what was the nudge that really got me, because I got sick. I hurts like crazy. I was sick off of that bunch of bees.
We only do in the protocol head stings very seldomly. So if you, all those head stings must have thrown you into an incredible herx.
Threw me into an incredible herx, but it also, I don't know if it advanced my therapy, if that even makes sense. And I started thinking about it because Ellie fell into some bees and she was pretty much in a coma. And I'm thinking, I wonder how many head stings she had. You know, I don't know. I don't know what pushed it, but by the 4th month, I was feeling strong enough to drive up to Nebraska.
Now you're in your 4th month, but you only did 18 months of the bee venom therapy, correct?
Correct.
And at what point did you decide, okay, I'm good and I can stop? You know, were you symptom-free or relatively symptom-free for 6 months or 3 months, or how did that go? And then I'd also love it if you would talk about your detox.
I have no idea how long I had, how long I had been really symptom-free. I was just living. I didn't have time to go and sting. Before, I was sick all the time. Now I'm alive. And it's like, I got to take advantage of every day that I have. And I'm up at 6 o'clock every morning. Yeah, life, I started living. Hi, Trish. I started living, and then all of a sudden it was like, I just stopped. I just stopped singing.
Well, you had to,
but I didn't
just
stop.
Living an amazing life to totally forget about stinging. I mean,
yeah.
I'm so looking forward to that day. I can't even imagine, but I know now I feel so much better that if this was all a healing I got, it would be enough. So tell me about your detox, because detox is super, super important, and everybody does a little bit of different detox for what works for our body. You already went over, you know, if you're sweating or detoxing through your skin to make sure you're rinsing off the detox. So can you tell us more about what you did with that?
In one of the groups, they were talking about saunas, and they used to have the blankets you could get under, the infrared blankets, and they had these little tubes you could get into, and it have up to your neck, and they had all these different things that you could do. And I met a man who had a sauna that he was going to sell, and I said I would really love to buy it, but I'm going to have to do it on payments because I'm very limited funds. And somebody got with him and started talking to him about the benefits of it, and he decided not to sell it. But instead of not selling it, he shipped me a brand new one. Yeah.
That's a huge gift.
Not everybody has it. That was a huge gift.
You must have somehow known how impactful that would be for you.
I just believe it was God moving on his heart. Him and I never talk. We haven't talked since he shipped me. He was a pharmacist who owned his own pharmacy. He's in the Midwest. I don't really, you know, he was just a great guy. And if it hadn't have been for that, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today, because I would get in there and sweat 20, 30 minutes, you know, and then I'd be so wringing wet. I'd take my lemonade in with me in a book. I moved a TV in so I could watch TV.
Did you do that every day? Non-sting days, or how many times a week did you do it?
I did it 3 or 4 times a week. Yeah. You know, in between there, I would take Epsom salt baths with some baking soda in it. I tried peroxide. I've tried enemas. You name it. I did coffee enemas. I joined the group with the girls with the coffee enemas. And
looking into parasite cleanses and things like that.
Yeah, parasite cleansing is very important. Very important. When you get bit, you get whatever that tick had, whatever parasite he even is carrying, you're going to get it too. If you live in the country and go barefoot, you're going to pick up. If you eat vegetables that haven't been washed properly, you can pick up. So, yeah, looking into parasites, doing parasite treatments, wormwood, different herbs and things like that. I was pretty stayed up on detoxing, and I don't detox as much. I still drink a lot of lemon water. I still take Epsom salt baths. More now for just pain, because my muscles, once you get better, your body starts hurting in a different way. You start using muscles you haven't used in years. And it's like, oh, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I was pulling up that rug. That's why that hurts. Or, you know, oh, when we were weeding and my butt muscles were killing me. It was like, oh my God, what have I done?
That's when you know you're living, huh?
You know? Yes, you know, I told my sister, I said, I think I'm getting a tush. She said, my butt, it's lifting, because I was doing so many squats. You know, I hadn't done squats like that in I don't know how many years.
That's fabulous.
We're out there weeding, planting, you know, so life is good.
So how long has it been since you stung? 3 years?
Yeah, I think so.
I bet that's been a fabulous 3 years.
Going on. I went back to work as a nurse, and I worked full time for 1.5 years there. I worked a half a year at Home Depot, worked in their garden department. We finished a greenhouse. We got a greenhouse done. I've got my vegetable garden is going good. I've got chickens like you. It is good. Lost 80 pounds.
80 pounds. That is enormous.
Yeah, I
Wow.
lost 80 pounds. And
Is there
life is
anything
good.
you'd like to share with us about this that would help those that are just getting started? Your story is so amazing. And to know that you went from, well, there's no way to describe how you were before. We have to just share the video, but to see where you are now is truly a testament to the bee venom and your tenacity and courage. So can you tell us anything that you would tip wise for anyone starting out?
Don't give up. Don't give up hope. Don't, you know, I thought about it a lot, and I think what got me into the groups were seeing people that were committing suicides. And thinking, you know, the pain is unbearable, true. I understand that. But there's other pains that are more unbearable. The pain of losing a child, the pain of having your children, you know, go into different areas. We can't just give up because times get hard. We have to hang on to our faith, love what is near us, and just know that God does not forsake us. You know, we have to have that in our soul, because if not, the alternative is scary. You know, I just believe that no weapon formed against me is going to prosper, that I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Oh, and those bees were hard. Getting stung wasn't easy. That's not for the weak-hearted. You know, I give every girl out there, every guy out there having to do this, just kudos, because you've taken the first step. Stick with it. Maybe you have to go longer than I did. Don't be foolish and open up beehives, you know, but just don't give up hope.
Thank you so much for giving many people hope. And I'm sure you'll give people the courage to take this step so that they can get their lives back as well. I know that you inspire me to keep singing and to keep helping people learn, because to get your life back after what you went through and after what all of us go through with Lyme is a gift you never think you're going to get. And so a second chance is amazing, and you have really helped us to understand the power that is behind this. So thank you for sharing with us.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Be blessed.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We are Pollen Peddlers Apiary, and we provide bee venom therapy bees for those of you going through Lyme. We on our Facebook, you can follow us, as well as YouTube, and on our website you can order bees, ask questions, and find out all kinds of information on Lyme therapy and people that have gone through the protocols. We would love it if you would share with everyone you know that this may help. Just subscribe to our channel, give them some information. We are here to guide you and help you in your journey. So thank you so much, everyone, and have a wonderful day.